Brighton. My husband bought me a surprise present for my birthday. And this wasn't one of these surprise presents that you hint at for 6 months. You write notes in your shared diary. No, this was a surprise present that was completely out of the blue, never discussed. He enrolled me, he actually paid the money and enrolled me on a stand-up comedy course. I cannot wait for his birthday. Any ideas what I should give him for his birthday? Skydiving. Oh, too much fun.
Holiday with a toddler.
Holiday with a toddler. I have a better one. I have enrolled my husband, who is sitting here, I have enrolled him on an 8-week Morris dancing course. Anyway, here I am. It is a bit terrifying. I'm wearing my baggy jeans, just in case I shit myself with fear. The last time I was so terrified, I was also wearing baggy pants. To be precise, a flying suit. I was miles up in the sky in a plane, near a big opening of the plane. I was gripping on with my hands and my feet, looking out of the opening, screaming very loudly as my family had gone out first. And the only way they could get me out was to push me. I went. I landed, happily no broken bones, a good photo, and clean pants. So let's hope for tonight. My husband knows my form, so to get me to actually turn up at the comedy course, he took me on my first day, and he didn't just take me there, he waited till I went in the door. It was a bit like being a child on the first day of school, apart from all the swearing. So, I'm known as a smiley person. I don't know why, I just tend to be a smiley person. Smiling, I think, is much like COVID. Highly infectious. It has downsides. Smiling definitely has downsides in life, particularly when you're cycling, because you're cycling along, hoovering up all the flies and the bugs. I cannot stop smiling because I love cycling so much. At the weekend, just a little aside, we were cycling along and we cycled cautiously up behind a dog with its owner on a long lead, wearing headphones and smoking a spliff. And as we went past, I wondered what the dog was listening to. A bit more about me. I'm in that funny place in life, sort of where I'm not young anymore. I like to think that I'm not young and I'm not old. I'm in the middle somewhere. And this plays out all the time. So an example, I tripped on the train. I hear some people go, whoa, she's had a great night out. And I hear someone else go, oh dear, she's had a fall. Oh, we must find her a seat. Well, it was very late on a Friday night. I'd had a good night out and the carriage was heaving. So I decided to be my old self and take the seat. Tonight, though, here I am in a club on West Street, for those of you who know, next to Spoons. So I am my young self. Coming back to the train, it was so funny, I just have to share this. So I was on my way up for my big night out, and I got on the first carriage, and I sat in a nice seat, ready to go for my trip to London. And just as we were leaving, a big guy gets on next to me. He's got long arms and long legs. They always sit next to me. And as he settles down, he comments, oh, the seats are quite snug. But his body's sort of all over mine. And I'm not sure if this is because he's just trying to get comfy or he's being inappropriate. I don't want to make him feel uncomfortable or embarrass him, so I wait to the first station, Preston Park. So as we get close, I pick all my stuff up, pretend to get off the train, and just nip on to the next carriage. So I go on the next carriage, and sit down, and then you start hearing someone sneeze and cough. You know those people who've forgotten a tissue, and they're sort of sniffing away? And I thought, oh, I've got my graduation gig, I don't want a cold. Next station, get off again, go to the next carriage. I sit down, all seems good, and then someone, one of those really irritating people, starts talking on the phone, and she's talking really loudly. She's buying loads of things on the phone. And, you know, as you get towards Hayward Heath, the signal goes. So she's going, can you hear me? Can you hear me? So the carriage in unison goes, yes, we can. Other than me, because I'm busy writing down the long card number, her expiry date, the 3-digit code. So it goes. I really hope I'm not going to be one of those lonely old train crawlers. And sometimes I think a smile isn't going to see me through. So I thought what I need to do is laugh more. So I decided to do a bit of research into laughter. So very interesting what I learned. Laughter is also infectious, just like COVID and smiling. It is very good for you. It is very good for the soul, for your mind, and for your body. It's very good for your skin. It is sometimes known as the elixir of youth. And what's really interesting is that your body can't tell the difference between 5 minutes of laughter and 5 minutes of fake laughter. So I probably should have told you that at the top of the set. I'm happy with the fake laughter. Anyway, it's really good to learn that laughter is this elixir of youth. Because between my husband and me, we have 3 parents well in their 90s who seem to be on some competition to win a world record in longevity and stubbornness. And if we weren't laughing, we would be crying. So it's great to know that laughing is so good for us. So just take my mum, for example. So my mum used to be a little bit taller than me, and I'm not that tall, but now she's sort of down here. Recently, she was, in hospital, as you go in and out in your 90s, and she was on a trolley in A&E for many, many hours, and they put her in a little side room, also known as a sort of cupboard, and sent us home. And a little while later, she calls and she says, Ros, they brought my food in, I can't reach it, there's no one here, they've shut the door, I need a wee. So I said, okay, hang on, Mum, I'm going to try and get through to the nurse's desk and send someone in. She says, don't worry, I'm climbing over the railings, the bed rails. Anyway, amazingly, she survived. We then, soon after, lost her in some shops. So a half an hour panic ensued. We're rushing around looking for her, and we came up to a cafe and we saw her in a cafe having a cup of tea. So we ran in to hug her, found my mum, and then we realised we were hugging the wrong little old lady. Because they all start to look the same at that point. So we carried on our search and we eventually found her in Cook, the frozen food shop. She's so little that she was being hidden by the chest freezers. Anyway, happily she hadn't climbed in those. I was there the other day. It was getting a bit dark, twilight, we were chatting about family. We were talking about a particular uncle. And she was trying to remember something about him, and she said, well, he never came to my funeral, so he must have died before me. At which point, I said to her, slightly desperate, "Mum, you're not dead yet, we're in the living room." She laughed and laughed and laughed, and I thought, well, all this elixir of youth and laughter, she'll live a few more months. Anyway, so I have learned on my stand-up comedy course that I didn't expect to even be on. I have learned how to mark up a script around micro-penises without blushing or kicking out a squiggle. I have learned that doing stand-up comedy on a stage isn't that different. Who is it over there? Isn't that different than jumping out of a plane? And I'm happy to share that my jeans are poo-free still. And the most important thing I'm learning is that for me, the secret to stand-up comedy is to talk a lot less. Like a lot less, which is quite a challenge. And I wonder if that's why my husband enrolled me on the course. Or if that's why he's asking for a refund. Thank you.